Hey guys, it's time for my NXT review. I know it's long overdue, but with the hurricane and everything, I was able to get through this episode of NXT, so let's talk about it. This episode aired October 24th, 2012, and we kick it off with Dusty Rhodes in the NXT office? Hallway? Maybe? I don't know. When all of a sudden, here comes Heath Slater, the one-man man, baby! So he talks to Dusty about having a match with Seth Rollins for the NXT title. And when all of a sudden, excuse me, hi Dusty, it's Vicky Guerrero. Vicky Guerrero comes out and she says to Dusty that she's looking for new people that she could manage and bring up to the ranks. So Dusty says, because of Vicky, that he's going to give Heath Slater a match with Seth Rollins, although it be a non-title match. If Slater wins, he gets a future shot at the NXT title. So after the opening credits, we'll run into our first match, Brodus Clay against Camacho. And one thing I noticed is there's a new announcer at the NXT desk. And I had to write his name down so I remembered. His name is Tony Luftman. Luftman. I gotta say, for first time on a WWE program, he was sort of okay. I mean, not the best, but he didn't seem like he was nervous. But let's get to the match. This was an interesting match, Brodus Clay and Camacho. Obviously, Brodus Clay had the advantage for a while. And he even got up to the second rope and he started punching Camacho, which is very rare for a guy his size, over 300 pounds. And then Camacho kicks him in the leg, gets him down. And then Camacho does a Samoan drop on Brodus Clay, which is absolutely amazing. And, in a way, it sort of surprised me because Brodus Clay is a big guy. But at the same time, you got to remember, Camacho is the son of Haku, and Haku is one of the toughest men that ever lived. So anyway, the end of the match, Camacho does, he gets a 2 count. Brodus Clay pushes him off. He goes out to the floor. Then he starts trying to win over Cameron and Naomi. They're dancing. And then Brodus Clay comes from behind, and he starts dancing behind Camacho. Camacho runs up. He goes to the top rope. Brodus Clay goes back in the ring. Clay hits him with a headbutt to the chest, followed by a clothesline, and then the big splash. 1, 2, 3. Brodus Clay gets the win. And then after that, they get the little kiddies up there, and they start dancing. So after we get a nice video package about Paige, we go to Byron Saxton, who's got a little podium set up with Richie Steamboat. And this reminded me so much of the territory days. The Crockett Promotions, Championship Wrestling from Florida, Georgia Championship Wrestling, just to name a few. And Saxton and Steamboat were talking about what happened on the previous episode of NXT when Cassius Ohno knocked out Steamboat with the elbow on the apron. So Steamboat says that the doctors are not letting Steamboat compete. And then Cassius Ohno comes out, and they have a bit of words. Steamboat said, if it wasn't for the doctors, I have my stuff in the bag, I'm ready to go. So Ohno then says, well, you ought to stay and not come back. You and Daddy Steamboat can go on the porch and start swinging and reminiscing about your time. And then he throws a white towel at him, sort of say, time to give up. So Cassius Ohno goes to the ring. He has a match. And his opponent, Trent Barreta. How about this? 2 episodes in a row, Trent Barreta on NXT. And again, this is this is a good match. This is a good match. Barreta gets some nice moves, including a beautiful leap over the top rope on the Cassius Ohno. It was very good. And then Ohno took control. He had the advantage for much of the match until the end, when Richie Steamboat came running down the aisle, had the towel in hand, distracted Ohno, threw the towel into Ohno's face, which is a long enough of distraction for Trent Barreta to hit him with a running high knee right into the face. 1, 2, 3. Trent Barreta in what would consider to be an upset victory over Cassius Ohno, but it is a good match between the two men. So then we go to our female tag team match. Layla and Alicia Fox against Paige and Audrey Marie. This match was a lot better than the previous women's tag match that they had with Caitlyn in it. And it's nothing against Caitlyn, but this was just a much better match. You know, it was just better all around. And I'd have to say, if it wasn't for possibly the Ono Barreta match and the main event, this was the best match on the show. That's how good this match was. It started out with Alicia Fox and Paige. They were doing some fantastic wrestling in the ring. I mean, it was just great. And then Layla and Audrey Marie got in. They were doing some really good wrestling. So, you know, they just were going back and forth, you know, and it was a very good match. And in the end of the match, Paige has Layla in control. And then Audrey Marie tags herself in blind tag onto Paige. So Paige is a little bit upset about this. So Audrey Marie comes in, does a lackadaisical cover, 1, 2, and then Layla reverses it into a crucifix pin, 1, 2, 3. Layla and Alicia Fox get the win. Paige upset at Audrey Marie, but this was a very, very good tag team match in my opinion. And then we go to our next match, and this was very interesting. This guy I've never seen before, Bronson. He went up against Lincoln Broderick. Now, something you got to keep in mind, and I had a hunch, but this match was the key to me getting the hunch into a fact. The ring announcer for this episode was Matt Stryker. He was the ring announcer for this episode. How about that? And Lincoln Broderick, he's a big guy. I mean, both of them were big, but Broderick, he seemed to be a little bit bigger. So, you know, it's two big guys, they're fighting each other, and then Bronson does this beautiful STO onto Broderick, and then he locks in a very unique form of the figure 4 leg lock. Gets the submission, Bronson gets the win. He looks like a bigger version of Mad Dog Vachon. But it's too early for me to put an entire opinion on him as far as, is he, you know, he's that good of a wrestler. He's not that good. It's too early for me. But he does, like, his look reminds me of a taller version of Mad Dog Vachon. It really does. So after the match, we see Cassius Ohno in a classroom, very upset, throwing stuff around because they're at Full Sail University. And then Antonio Cesaro comes out, very unique. He cuts a promo. This was very good. And I think if you're looking for ways to show someone how a heel can get heat, this is a good example. Because Cesaro starts off talking in different languages. And then he says how he is the champion of the United States. He is the champion for all of us. And then he goes into saying, ask not what I could do for you. Ask not what the United States champion can do for you. Ask what you can do for your United States champion. And I loved that. That was very good. So then he goes into, so if you don't mind, I want everyone to stand up for the national anthem. So, and at first nobody's really standing up. And I'm thinking, this could be interesting. And then Cesaro goes, I'm going to ask you one more time. Everyone please stand for the national anthem. And then, you know, there are some people, you know, that start standing up, and then he goes, all right, please play the national anthem of Switzerland. And this got great reaction. Oh, it was so good. It really was. And then Tyson Kidd comes out. And he says that he wants a shot at the United States title. And then they get into a fight. Tyson Kidd pretty much has the advantage, So Tyson Kidd stops Cesaro from having the Swiss national anthem being played. And then we go to the featured match, or as Gorilla Monsoon would say on prime time, it's feature time. Heath Slater against Seth Rollins. Of course, it's a non-title match. Jim Ross joins William Regal for this. Poor Tony Luftman. First episode, he doesn't get to stay around for the featured match. But anyway, this was a really good match. Both guys looked real good together in the ring. A lot of wrestling and a lot of high-flying moves. Rollins does the beautiful tope dive, and he lands on his feet, which looked really good. And then Slater's doing a lot of great offensive work. Vicky Guerrero's doing a very good job, being this annoying manager. And then the end of the match comes where Heath Slater attempts a powerbomb, but Rollins reverses it, gives him a kick. And then he hits a standing sliced bread number 2. And he gets the 3 count on the win. And Ross and Regal are impressed because this is the second time that they had seen Seth Rollins use that particular move. Seth Rollins wins. Vicky Guerrero leaves. She's upset at Heath Slater. That's the end of the episode of NXT. All in all, with a 5th match, and this was actually their longest episode since they started. It was a little bit over an hour. This was a good episode. Really close for best match. But I gotta go with Cassius Ohno and Trent Barreta. It just was very good. And then the Divas tag match was very interesting. It was very well done. It was a very good match. I enjoyed that. I wish that's what we would get more of in the Divas division, in the WWE. And then the main event was good. And it was just a really good episode all around. So in the next episode of NXT, they announced that Antonio Cesaro will defend the United States Championship against Tyson Kidd, plus a debut of somebody that's going to be making a debut that they're going to be making. Someone's going to be making their debut on the Halloween episode of NXT.